So in this episode, I want to talk a little bit about template state. And to do this, let me show you a use case we have in our app. So this is our main homepage. It's just a static site, static HTML, where people can buy the book. And when they click buy, they are redirected to Gumroad, which is our payment provider, which takes care of, getting people's money and then giving them a link. And that link contains a unique token right here that lets them create their actual account, which they use to access the book. So it's a little bit involved, but it works, and it lets us not have to worry about processing credit cards or Stripe or anything like that. So if people's token is valid, they get this page which says connect your Meteor account to complete sign up, or they can also click here to finish their sign up with an email and password instead. And we already know their email from the token, so they just need to type in a password. Okay, so that's all well and good, but what if the token is invalid? So that's also something we need to take into account, and we show them an error saying the URL appears to be incorrect. There's another use case though, which is when people's token is valid, but they already used it previously. So at one point we weren't differentiating and we were just showing them this screen, but then they tried signing up again and it didn't work because they maybe entered a different password or the system is confused. So what we decided to do is, if you've already used the token, so this token has been used previously and it corresponds to an existing user account with an email, password, and so on, then we show them the regular login form, and hopefully they just type in the credentials and then can log in. So all this to illustrate this example about template state, because this is how we do it behind the scenes. So this is the old version, and we do everything in an onBeforeAction router callback, and you can see we call a method called token used. And the reason we do that is because these tokens are private, and we don't expose them, client side. So we need a method to check the user object, the user document in the database server side. So there's latency basically, right? We need to wait for the method to return, and that's why we have a callback here. And once it returns, if there's an error, we show them the error message, and if not, depending on the type of account, we show them the regular login page or else the email login page. So why does this have to be in a router call? Well, because router calls are reactive. So for example, if this points users to the home page first, like they're well, I guess that wouldn't happen, but you can imagine that as the return value from the method changes, the thing will rerun and point people to the correct page. Okay, so this all relies on reactivity, which, as we know, is not present in FlowRouter. So how do we do this at the template level, which is where we're doing everything now? So first of all, if you look at the new route, finish sign up, you can see it's really simple. I was able to comment out all of this onBeforeAction stuff and just keep the path. And that's because I'm doing everything in the template. It's actually pretty simple, but it does have a cool little pattern, which I wanted to show you guys. So the first thing I do is set up an onCreated callback, get the value of the token from the router, and then instance points to the template instance, and then I create a new reactive dict. So reactive dict is basically like your own custom session. So session is a reactive dict, and in this case the reactive dict I'm creating is this.state. And I initialize it with the following values, one for checking token, token error, login template, and then the token itself. And then I set all these values in the callback of the method, same method as before. And the cool part is these are all reactive. So if I use them in a reactive context, then they will self-update as needed when the method returns. So one way I could do that would be to have helpers, so template.finishSignout.helpers, and then it would be like token error is a function which returns, whoops, no more space on the disk because of all these screencasts I'm doing. Anyway, so it would return, so in this case, template.instance.state, and state is just the name we gave to our own custom reactive dict. It's not something in Meteor or anything. But anyway, .state.get, and then the name of the variable, token error. And then we have to do this for login template, checking token, so on, and then we could use those in our spacebars code. But what I did instead is create handlebar global helper, called instance, that simply returns the current template instance. And then I can do instance.state.get and then pass the name of the variable. And that directly queries the reactive dict I defined here in my onCreated. So it's kind of a way to tidy up your code. And also it kind of foreshadows React, which relies, on these concepts of props and state and kind of grouping your reactive variables together in Meteor data. So I thought it was an interesting pattern. And also it's interesting to see how you can use, the same pattern as template level subscriptions, but for things that are not subscriptions, so API calls or method calls and so on. So there you go, just a quick pattern, and well, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.